us tonight. My name is John Volge. I am a CTE division head at Wheeling High School, and we're going to take some time tonight to kind of go through our college and career ready manufacturing pathway. So we'll go ahead and get started here. We have several panelists that are joining us tonight as well. A nice mix of we've got a couple of teachers from our district, a community partner, and a couple of our students that are going to be able to share some information about their path, through all of our classes so far during their school tenure. So we do have the panelists up on the screen here. I'm going to give them a chance to introduce themselves here in just a moment before we dive in. One of the things that we are going to take a look at together first is the District 214 manufacturing pathway as it's designed for students and to kind of follow through some different courses. So looking at this graphic here, up at the top, it shows a possible pathway a student could take if they were to determine during their freshman year that manufacturing was the career path they wanted to follow. So in that first box there under grade 9, there are a few different courses that are available for students to take. Fabrication technology, kind of an introduction CAD course, and then a project lead the way engineering essentials course. Now, it kind of differs a little bit from building to building within the district. Some buildings do have all 3 courses. Some may only run a couple of those courses. But this is kind of that first orientation course where a student would be able to gather some basic knowledge about what the pathway is, maybe learn some skills and some different tools along the way to kind of guide them as they continue to move on in that pathway. Then as students kind of progress during their sophomore, junior years, there are additional courses that they can take. So a couple examples are our Project Lead the Way Computer Integrated Manufacturing course. We do have some welding courses, and then we kind of get into, as they get into junior, senior year, some college level courses as well. Some of those earlier courses I forgot to mention do have some dual credit as well with them, where students can earn college credit as they move through those courses as well. And then as they kind of get to their senior year, really what we're looking to do is try to give students a great experience with maybe being a little more hands-on and trying to get involved with an apprenticeship program, which we've got a couple students here tonight that'll be able to share some more information about that. As you look down below the red bars at the top there, there is also kind of an idea of what a student would have to take credit-wise in our other areas within the building. So their English, their math, science, and so forth, the credits that they would have to earn by the time that they graduate. There is a little post-secondary column that you could see kind of right in the middle of the page there, which lists some of the activities and opportunities that students have beyond just a classroom experience. So some of the things that they could do is join in a robotics club. There are some different career days, career nights that are available that the district puts on. We do have a really cool opportunity for students to get involved with a high mileage vehicle design, and they compete as well as a robot rumble. So there are several other experiences beyond just the classroom that students can partake in if they are going through this manufacturing pathway. So with that being said, I'm going to move forward one more slide here. So this isn't the way to take a look at that. I know that that slide had a lot of information that you might want to kind of break down and look at a little bit more in detail. But if you were to navigate to the d214.org website, this is how you can access our academic programs and pathways guidebook. So if you click academics at the top, and then you have the opportunity to click on the link where that yellow arrow is pointing to for the guidebook. There's a lot of information in that guidebook. There's several pathways that our district has really put a lot of hard work into and developing, and manufacturing can be found in there. So if you ever need to kind of revert back to that, that is available for you on the District 214 website. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen here. We're going to bring it to the group that we've got. So again, I just want to thank our panelists all for being here. I'm going to give them an opportunity to introduce themselves here. And thank you to all of you that have joined us within the last few minutes. Again, this is the manufacturing pathway, District 214 manufacturing pathway. We're going to take a little time tonight to check in with our panelists. I've got some questions for them to kind of share some information about their experiences within this pathway. And then we will, if you see at the bottom, there is a chat feature that we have going. So if there are any questions throughout that you might have you want to ask to the group, please feel free to type it in there. What we'll be able to do then is kind of go through some of those questions towards the end of our presentation here. So, all right, so let's go ahead and start with our panelist introduction. So it might look a little different on everybody's screen. So I'm going to go ahead and ask for our community partner, Paul. Would you mind introducing yourself to everybody here and just kind of share your name, which organization you're affiliated with, and a little bit about your background?
Yeah, my name is Paul Remington. I am with a company called W.A. Weissog, the Die Masters. We've been in business since 1948. I got involved with the company in 1989 when we purchased it. I no longer am an owner, and I am really not going to talk a lot about my background. I think it's more interesting to talk about the background of somebody in our company. I don't think my background really fits your manufacturing pathway career night. What I want to talk about is the key skill level and training that's required in a business like ours, which is basically precision metal forming. So we have presses that form materials through the use of tools. And these tools require a tool and die maker. And of the many positions in our company, and including our tool room, most of the people that know our business have a background in tool and die. And so their background is typically they have gone through some kind of high school program. If it is a number of years ago, it would have been more vocational. If it's more recently, it would have been a manufacturing program at a place like Elk Grove High School. We have an apprentice that he's a journeyman. He was been with us 5 years. And he went through the manufacturing career path at Elk Grove High School. And other people in our organization have done similar things, but at some point ended up going through the Technology Manufacturing Association as tool and die makers. And what I recommend is that students who take this path take as many manufacturing courses as they can. As you said, John, be involved in a curriculum after school programs like robotics or high mileage vehicle. And I would encourage them highly to become involved in the machining contests at the TMA, or Tooling Technology Manufacturing Association. And I've used up my time. Thank you.
No, thank you. I appreciate you sharing that with us, Paul. So we're going to go ahead and jump to one of our teachers, Eric. Thanks for joining us tonight. If you don't mind kind of sharing a little bit of information about yourself and what school you're at and maybe some of the classes that you're teaching.
Absolutely. So my name is Eric Dietrich, and I teach fabrication, welding, as well as autos at Hersey High School. This is my 5th year teaching, and it's also the 5th year of our fabrication program, and then the 2nd year of our welding program as well. We were the first school in the district to bring that on, so it's been really cool getting to really develop and build that dedicated program. And we recently became AWS Sense certified. So we've been following their curriculum, and that gives our students a chance to earn student level certifications as well.
Excellent. Thank you. And then we do have another teacher from Wheeling High School. Mike, do you mind kind of sharing some of your background with us as well?
Absolutely. So I'm Mike Geist. I am one of the engineering and manufacturing teachers at Wheeling High School. So we have a manufacturing program as well. And I've been teaching for 24 years. I've been at Wheeling for 19. And at Wheeling in 2008, we were one of the first schools in our district to bring on the manufacturing as we see it today with the CNCs. And it really is wonderful to see where we are today with our manufacturing partners. And I think, Paul, I really appreciate how you laid it out with the fact that, our kids, when they come into our building, we need to expose them to these after school programs and all of these activities. Like we have the high mileage, we have the robotics, and all of those experiences are getting them to use their hands. And the courses that I teach, like robotics and introduction to engineering, open up the eyes to the things that they never knew existed. And going out to these companies at a junior year in high school, these are opportunities that our district provides to our students. They're internships that start off sometimes at a micro level. Maybe it's a week or a few days or a few hours during the week, just to expose them to different careers. And those early exposures at this young age in our manufacturing program has opened up opportunities. We have students at companies now that they never even knew existed. So we're very proud in our district with what our manufacturing program has done and how it's changed the lives of our students. And we're all makers here, us teachers in this district and the manufacturing programs and the engineering we love to just make things. And whether we're welding or manufacturing, making things, programming robots, it really inspires the kids. So we love what we do, and we notice that the kids love it as well. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. All right. And we are lucky enough, like I said earlier, to have a couple of our students here. So Emily, if you don't mind kind of sharing a little bit about yourself, what school you go to, and maybe what program you're currently involved in.
Hello, my name is Emily Sohn, and I'm a District 214 high school apprentice. I'm from Hersey High School, and my partner company is Demji Chicago. They're a French-based company with a few other locations across the world, and they specialize in plastic injection molding. My location specifically does quite a lot of parts for airplanes and medical.
Very cool. Well, excited to hear a little bit more about that later as we dive into some other questions. So, Joe, if you don't mind, thank you for joining us as well. If you could share a little bit about yourself and the program you're involved with.
My name is Joe Grislack. I'm a senior at Prospect High School, and I am partnering with Keats Manufacturing in Wheeling. They have a spot in Mexico and Texas, and we make metal stamping, which goes to parts like the medical field or trades such as like electricians.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. So, hey, Paul, I'm going to swing it back to you here for a second. I know you talked a little bit about wanting to share with us maybe what somebody in your company does. So if you could you kind of maybe describe like what a typical day might look like for somebody that is a tool and die maker, or maybe working somewhere, hands-on within your company?
I describe really two paths. One is a tool and die maker. It starts early. The manufacturing world typically starts early, in about the 6-ish time frame. And typically what a tool and die maker will do is help maintain tools. I don't know if everybody knows what a tool is, but in a stamping press, which goes up and down, there's a top part to a die and a bottom part. And as a coil of material is fed through, it gradually creates the part. And our tool and die makers are responsible for A, building the tool, B, maintaining the tool, and are the main on-the-floor engineers in problem solving when something goes wrong. And what can go wrong? A part may not be to spec. It may, what they call throw a punch, that is, something is damaged. One of the sensors, these are highly electronic interfaces. The sensor may go bad, or the sensor is not doing something right. It's a whole myriad of things related to problem solving a large piece of equipment with a fairly intricate tool. The other aspect would be somebody that's in our automation department. They would be involved in maybe building a robotic system. maintaining a robotic system, or maybe cleaning off the roof. So they get involved in the facility things as well as the manufacturing floor. But a typical day is problem solving. You may have your day planned, but I'll guarantee you the way you planned it, right, Emily? Right, Joe? It doesn't work that way because something happens and you got to fix it. You got to take care of it. So you got to like to solve problems.
Excellent. And so you kind of mentioned, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Cover it?
So you kind of mentioned two different main focuses within your company, a tool and die maker, and then somebody that's involved on the automation side. Could you kind of share with everybody what types of schooling or certifications those people may need in those specific positions?
High school diploma, manufacturing courses, and then enrollment after a period of time of working for us in the Technology and Manufacturing Association Tool and Die Apprenticeship Program, which is a 3-year program, of which they get an associate's degree, and that leads them to a 5-year journeyman apprentice. It's a 5-year journeyman apprenticeship. Automation technician side could either be high school as well, and in the case of our person, he went through the German American Chamber of Commerce apprenticeship program, GCAT, and it was very rigorous, and he has just completed his journeyman status with Department of Labor as well as with German American Chamber of Commerce. So both of them require Harper College, if you will, or community college coursework. In the case of a tool and die apprentice, it's mostly at night. In the case of the German American Chamber of Commerce, it's alternating day. They'll work for us some days and then go to school a couple of days. So any other certifications than that are not required. Basically, a high school diploma and attitude and aptitude.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing that. We appreciate it. All right, so I'm going to jump to our high school instructors. So Eric, would you mind sharing a little bit, maybe a little bit more in depth about some of the classes you teach? I know you were mentioning welding earlier. So if you can maybe share a little bit about what those classes look like, what are maybe some of the fun projects students would do within there?
Yeah, absolutely. So our pathway, like you said, every building's a little bit different. Starts out with Fabrication 1 and Fabrication 2, each of which are a 1-semester class. And those are kind of your sampler classes where you're doing a couple projects on the mill. You're learning about squaring up stock, using the DRO, basic measurement inspection. We also work on lathes as well. We do some sheet metal work, as well as some basic welding projects. And the whole year revolves around basically those 4 different machines / groups / processes, while introducing new projects where the kids can develop new skills, new techniques as they go. Then beyond that, we have a couple different options. They can go into the advanced CNC courses where they focus more on the machining side of things, or they can go into the welding program where you get really, really in depth on a lot of those little details, a lot of the sciencey aspects of welding. As well as you get into some more welding processes, as well as sort of the why and the how of those processes.
Perfect. Thank you. And so, Mike, I know you're over at Wheeling High School, and as we've said a few times here, the pathways look slightly different, maybe some different types of courses at each building within the manufacturing pathway. Could you share a little bit about maybe some of the classes you teach and some of the fun projects you guys experience as well?
Sure. So some of the things that are unique at Wheeling is we have a robotics lab. So we have 8 ABB robots that we try to take our manufacturing students through. So at the completion of their program, they'll be SMART certified on the ABB robots, which are commonly found in industry. And those skills that they develop on those robots can be transferred to a lot of different robotic applications. In their manufacturing pathway, they'll also take, and I don't want to be too redundant, but we have a very similar manufacturing program that Hersey has, as well as most of our buildings have in our district. So we partner with Harper College so that when they complete their program, they have 12 hours of college credit, which is kind of a nice, and there's a lot of our courses in our programs that will have dual credit with the colleges. So that just gives them that leg up once they graduate and then they start their apprenticeship programs if they choose to take that route. So we really emphasize the certifications and anything that's recognized by industry so that if they choose to move that route, that can help them. And even if they choose to go to the university route, having those industry certifications can also be a beneficial thing to them. So it's an excellent opportunity. So that's us at Wheeling.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So I'm going to jump to our students now. So you've heard a little bit about some of the classes that we teach. So for our students, Emily, I'll ask you to start for us if you don't mind. Can you share maybe some of the courses within the manufacturing pathway you took? And then what was it about? Was there something in one of those courses that really hooked you, or a project or an experience that you had that really got you interested in pursuing manufacturing as a possible career?
I initially started in the Engineering 1 course, but after one CNC project, I moved over to Fab Tech 1 and 2, which I just really liked the hands-on part of it. I liked some of the individual projects I got to do, bringing up with Dietrich. Those were really fun. But what really solidified my career choice was my internship I did last spring. It was within the district, so I pretty much had free reign, supervised free reign over the shop.
Perfect. Thank you very much. All right. So Joe, same thing to you. What was it about manufacturing that got you hooked? And if you could share a little bit maybe about some of the classes that you've taken so far along the pathway as well.
The first class I took that really opened up my eyes to like manufacturing was I took like a basic machine technologies class, and that basically we went over just how to use the lathe, the mills, how to do a little bit of welding. I got more experience to just overall just machines, and I really enjoyed working on like the mills and the lathes. And I eventually wanted to work on CNC. So and I had a very good experience with my teacher, and he recommended that I should apply for an apprenticeship through manufacturing. And here I am today.
Perfect. Thanks for sharing that. So I'm going to jump back to our teachers real quick here. So, you shared a little bit about your classes that you teach and the classes within your buildings. We talked briefly about something called Robot Rumble, high mileage vehicle. Can you share with us, and Eric, if you don't mind starting again, kind of sharing with us, like, what are some of those external experiences beyond the classroom that you guys provide to students? Do you bring in guest speakers? Do you do field trips? Anything like that to expose students to other areas within manufacturing?
Yeah, so we try and do quite a bit just to really help expose students to what the real world looks like, because it's always going to be a little bit different than a classroom. We try and do several field trips each year. So we'll alternate between IMTS and FabTech, which are two massive industry shows in Chicago. So we'll alternate between those depending on which one is in town. We've also done field trips visiting local shops just to see what that's like. The students can talk to people that are actually working at those jobs. They can talk to the owners and get a little bit of experience with that. Like you said as well, we also have the high mileage competition, which we do in the CNC course, where students can apply a lot of the skills that they've learned towards a larger, basically year-long project. And then they get to go to a racetrack and drive the car that they built. We also have our BattleBots team as well, where students can, again, apply everything that they've learned to build a robot and fight it against others.
Perfect. Thank you. And Mike, if you could share too, I know actually I was lucky enough to join Mike on a field trip earlier this year. That was really cool, where we experienced going down to McCormick Place. So if you want to talk about that field trip for a second, because I think that was a really cool
Yeah,
experience for a student.
that was the Fab Tech field trip. Like Eric had said, it happens every other year, but then on the odd year is another IMTS. So it's just a great industry event where kids can come in or go downtown and see all the latest and greatest technologies related to the industry. But again, just taking the kids into facilities. I know Moriseki out in Hoffman Estates opens their doors up to us each year for our kids, and it's a great thing. Today, even we had a field trip at the Now Arena Center, and ComEd actually hosted a career day, which turned out to be a great event, just to see the opportunities in the field for kids in the utility company. So yeah, just getting those kids access to see that this field in manufacturing is not dirty. And I think that a lot of parents think that it's dirty, it's ugly, and changing that perception has been a battle for as long as I've been teaching, and showing them that you can program a robot, you can program a CNC machine, and you can be in a shop and it can be clean and it can be exciting, and there can be great applications of math and science and all these things that we're learning. And getting them out there and showing them that you have to. Manufacturing Day happens every year in October, and I know we've brought them to different facilities, Sandvik and all over. We work with TMA too. We do the TMA competition each year, and they help us partner up with different companies to make sure the kids are exposed. So that, I think, is the biggest benefit, is to show them that networking and meeting people and seeing this stuff firsthand is good. What gets them excited and gets them passionate. And another point that I'd like to make is that at the high school level, in a lot of these courses, because sometimes it's intimidating. Sometimes when young people come through and then they look at our shops and they look at what we're doing, especially like BattleBots. Young people come through and they look at the robot that we're building and they say, oh, I don't want to do that. That's too hard. Don't be intimidated. This is something that you should be excited about and that you should be wanting to learn. At the high school level, we're not trainers. We're here to excite you. We're here to help you learn how to do this stuff, and you can do it. You really can. Once you get out of high school, you can move on to the training schools, and you can move on to the further degrees and such. But this is definitely doable, and don't be intimidated. So.
No, absolutely, that's a great point. And what you mentioned about it's not a dirty job anymore. It's amazing, some of these showrooms and manufacturing labs that we go into, and how clean and beautiful they are, honestly. So thanks for sharing that. So with that being said, Emily and Joe, so Emily, we'll start with you. Have you participated in any sort of additional events beyond your class, like a Robot Rumble or anything like that you've enjoyed doing?
I'm currently on this year's Hersey high mileage team, and I've done a few field trips, job career field trips and such.
Excellent. Could you share a little bit, like, so you're on that high mileage team. What is your role right now within that, or what do you foresee your role being as we kind of get closer to that competition?
Right now, I'm kind of on, I'd call myself quality control. I'm working with like 6 other high school guys. But so I'm making sure it's not going to fall apart. I've also got the writing side, the written report side of the project covered.
Excellent. No, that's perfect. And I think Paul mentioned that a little bit earlier about having to sometimes on the fly be able to fix things. So it's important to have that quality control. Absolutely. Joe, how about you, buddy? Have you had any experiences with some other extracurricular stuff besides just classes?
No, I have not done like any clubs, but I have a couple times my teachers asked me to stay after, and I've helped with the robotics team and everything. But besides that, no.
Got it. Thank you. So Paul, I'm going to bring it back to you for a second here. So I know you've talked a little bit about your field that you're involved in. And I guess what I would ask of you is, with the people that are viewing tonight and that are going to view this video later, what's kind of some of the best advice you could give, a high school student maybe just starting to think about manufacturing?
Well, certainly expose themselves to the manufacturing classes that both Mike and Eric talked about. And I would encourage to go on tours, but when you go on a tour, I think it's very important to think about what you're seeing. For instance, when we do a tour, we bring the students in and we have them actually manually try to assemble something. So not only do we stamp, but we do a lot of automated assembly and robotics, automated stuff. And the reason we have them actually manually try to do something is that they understand then what's important when they go out and look and do a tour. So instead of just looking at a tour in no context, look at the actual parts that are being made and ask the people that are giving the tour exactly how this is made and why it's made the way it is. And many times what we're doing, I know Keats is that way. In fact, the owner of Keats or the president of Keats and I know each other personally. We know that what's important is for people to come in and understand the entire process. And when you see something, you understand exactly how it's made. And we love to talk about how things are made. So my advice is get exposed at tours. And if you've got a friend or your dad or a relative, it doesn't have to be formal. Go into a manufacturing company and just see what they do. I mean, people have no idea how many different manufacturing companies there are in just Elk Grove Village. Just Elk Grove Village. And we have a youth apprentice working for us. And I think both Emily and Joe, you're youth apprentices, Illinois youth apprentices. You know Matt Buchanan? Oh, he's at Elk Grove High School. But I brought his parents in and they went around like this. They said, I had no idea that this was going on in Elk Grove Village. And you can even go to the point of saying to your instructor, I would like to go visit 5 manufacturing companies on my own. And my advice would be, do that. You'll get more out of that probably than doing a tour with 10 or 20 people.
Excellent. Thanks for that, Paul. Appreciate it. So I'm going to jump back to our students here. So Emily and Joe, you're both currently involved in an apprenticeship with different companies. You mentioned that earlier. So Joe, can you kind of share with us, what is that apprenticeship like? You know, how often do you go to that? What types of things are you doing when you're there? Maybe what's something cool you've learned so far?
So I work from Monday through Friday, 7 to 10, and basically as an apprentice, I started in September, or no, I started in August, and basically I have been been moving around the whole facility and getting exposed to different things. I've shadowed different people. I've tried out my fair share of different things. So it's a great experience. I mean, you're not going to get anything like this, and especially if you don't know what you want to do after high school, definitely try to get yourself exposed to different things because you never know what you're going to like. And maybe you find out that manufacturing your passion, and that's your passion, then try to get exposed to as much things as you can as possible.
Excellent. And Joe, so far, so you've been moving around a lot, you said, and tried different things. What's been your favorite thing that you've either maybe seen so far or been able to do so far?
My favorite thing is probably the CNC, the CNC machine. I'm just so like intrigued on just how it works because it is so crazy that like a piece of technology can do so much and just make so many different things, and there's so many options from like something that from just a regular mill to a CNC like machine. It's so crazy. So
Very cool. Thank you. Emily, how about you? What's been if you could again reshare where you're at and kind of what your day looks like there, how often you're there, and kind of some of your favorite things you've seen so far.
Similarly to Joseph, I have shadowed most of all the floor positions. I work coinciding with the Hersey block schedule, so every A day I'm at school, every B day I'm at work for 6 hours, from 8 to 2:30. I'd say one of my favorite shadows was the shadow in the tooling room. Again, a lot of big CNCs there. I did get to work on one, not programming, but like just working with the machine and cleaning out some of the molds we had. I also like the setup technician. It's kind of like a puzzle, figuring out the right heats and different codes to put in to make sure the part gets out correctly.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing. And so Emily, you guys talk about how you're there for different amount of hours and stuff. The apprenticeship program is very, very unique, and District 214 has done amazing work to be able to provide these apprenticeships. So is this something that you get paid for as a student?
Yes, I am paid. I think my wage is 15 something an hour.
Okay, excellent. Joe, and obviously you're in a very similar boat with your apprenticeship as well.
Yeah.
Excellent. So I think it's just very cool to have opportunities for students to, like you guys said, as freshmen, maybe you were exposed to just a basic course, and now you guys are, getting to the point where you're able to actually work while going to school and get these experiences. So I appreciate you guys sharing your thoughts and experiences with us so far. All right, so I'm going to jump back, Mike, if you don't mind. So our students kind of shared about some of their experiences. Could you kind of talk a little bit about maybe some of the other opportunities students have as far as like obtaining different credentials or certifications that you guys are able to provide?
Yeah. So in our advanced CNC class, our students are going to go through the NIMS credentialing. So in addition to those college credit hours that they're going to receive from Harper, so they'll actually be done with 3 courses if they choose to go to Harper and pursue that apprenticeship degree or just a manufacturing degree. They'll also get NIMS credentialing. So they go through the material safety credentialing, as well as the mill operator and lathe operator. So they'll get that. So that's a feather in their cap. And then also I had mentioned the SMART certification for the ABB robots. So that's another certification. And then we have many students that over the years that we've been, putting into our internship programs, which then eventually leads into the apprenticeship programs. So the apprenticeship programs kind of filters either through the district, but we also have been partnering with ICAD as well. So ICAD is another organization that supports students after they graduate, once they eventually go into the workforce and then want to pursue a degree along with a company as well. So there's a lot of opportunities that stem from the manufacturing and engineering pathways, but those certifications and the industry exposures are what they need to really kind of spark the interest and show that this is something that they're passionate about.
Absolutely. And Eric, is there anything in addition that you want to add? I know that Mike shared quite a bit about some of the certifications. Is there anything else that you're thinking about that students have the opportunity to gain leaving school?
Yeah, so you did a great job. One that we offer at Hersey is the AWS American Welding Society Sense certifications. So if students take the advanced welding course, at the end of the at the end of their coursework, they do have a chance to earn student level certifications that, like you said, it's a good feather in their cap. And if they decide to go into either a career or they decide to go into a technical program for welding, that gives them a huge leg up and looks really good on their resume.
Excellent. And hey, Mike, a question just popped up real quick. I know you mentioned ICAT in the program that, could you talk a little more? What is ICAT, or what does the ICAT stand for, that, and what do they provide for our students?
Sure. So ICAT is it's a partnership that has been kind of going on for a while through Harper, and it's a German-American partnership. So basically, I'm trying to remember what the acronym stands for. It is I don't know.
It's
Actually, I couldn't tell you
GCAP.
exactly.
It's GCAP.
It's through GCAP. It's ICATT is the full acronym, but it's a German American partnership. So there's about, I don't even know how many companies they're up to, but there's a good, last time I checked, there was a good probably 60 companies that partner with not just Harper. There's other community colleges all over Northern Illinois, and it actually expands even further out, where the students can apply through this organization. And then once they apply, and this is usually their, like, I don't know, spring of their senior year, they then get calls from various companies, and then they can get interviewed. And once that interview goes, goes through, then they can get support through ICAT to help with that interview process, develop resumes. And then if they get placed with a company, then from there, they get support all the way through that program, depending on each company. Each company is kind of different, depending on how many years that program will last. If some of it's, some companies will do it for 3 years, some companies will do it for 4 years, but at the end, you'll graduate with an associate's degree and then a state recognized apprenticeship certificate as well. So again, we've had a lot of success with it. We've had a lot of students go through the program. I think we have 6 of them that are currently in it, and it's a great opportunity. And they're paid 100% while they're going and while they're attending classes and doing their school, as well as obviously when they're on the job. So.
Perfect. Thank you for elaborating on that for us. We appreciate it. So I'm going to we're getting close to our time to be finished here, but I would like to kind of throw it back to our 2 students that we have here. So Emily, I'm going to start with you. If you could just kind of share with us, what are you thinking your plans are beyond high school? What are your post-secondary goals? And then how do you feel District 214 has prepared you for your future?
Post-secondary, I am planning on continuing either part-time or full-time with the company I'm currently at. I have talked this over with my bosses and it does seem probable. However, I'm also planning on taking some courses at Harper, either tool and die or welding, to get more certifications. I would not have known about any of this if this wasn't initially for the one presentation I did like 3 years ago on different job opportunities in manufacturing that I did in Engineering 1.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing that with us. And Joe, for you as well, what are your post-secondary goals, and how do you feel District 214 has prepared you for your future?
I plan to go to trade school and get my CNC certificate so I can start working on that side in manufacturing. And I feel like I found out about the apprenticeships through manufacturing is because last year we had a counselor come in and talk to my whole class about just apprenticeships and internships, and it really opened up my eyes, and I would not be here if it wasn't for her coming in. But I feel very it's more than just a job. I feel like I prepared with a lot, I've learned a lot of different tools, not just working a job, especially working with people a lot older than me. I feel like I've learned a lot.
Perfect. Well, thank you both for sharing. And as we kind of reach our time here, I'm looking in the chat. If anybody has any last minute questions, if they want to type it in there, we can answer those. But while we're waiting to see if any pop up in there, I just want to thank everybody for coming tonight and checking out some information about our manufacturing pathway. Thank you so much to our 2 students. We appreciate your dedication to our schools, our program, and being able to come here and share those thoughts and experiences with the people watching today. Our teachers, Mike and Eric, thank you so much for sharing a bit about your world and what your classrooms look like and the opportunities students have within them. I know I get to see it firsthand with Mike every day, and they're doing some amazing things in there. So I think just getting yourself exposed, like they said earlier, to what different things you could possibly do, it's endless, and it's pretty amazing the stuff that goes on in there. So, and then Paul, we appreciate you continuing to be one of our community partners. I know that The reason District 214 is able to do the things that it does is because of all the support from our communities, from all the different schools. So we really appreciate your continued support with our district and our school and our students. And just again, want to thank you all for being here. Doesn't look like there are any more questions, so we are going to go ahead and close out our session for tonight. So thank you to everybody, and enjoy the rest of your night.